tell us a little bit about yourself and your MS?
Yeah, sure. So I have relapse remitting MS. I'm 44 years old and I live in a town called Tunbridge Wells in Kent. I'm a senior editor for a collectibles company. We're best known for making football stickers and trading cards. I love my music, I like to DJ. I have 3 children. I've got Harvey, Jude and Joel, and I live with my partner, Katie. I have a lot of hobbies and pastimes, and one of them is running. So I was diagnosed with MS at the beginning of their first lockdown last year, following my first clinical relapse, where I had complete double vision and I had loss of sensation down my right-hand side of my body. Now that slowly corrected over the next few weeks, leaving me with double vision in my lateral gaze. My main symptoms I have are optic neuritis. So my right eye is always a little bit like the contrast is turned up. I have pins and needles in my hands, my legs. I have crawling sensations. So I get a lot of crawling sensations down the right-hand side of my face. Muscle twitches, things like that. I have tiredness and fatigue, which is usually with a lot of heat. Muscle stiffness in the mornings, and I struggle a little bit with my cognitive function, word finding, bits and pieces like that towards the end of the day, especially a really busy day. I was running fairly regularly around about between 2015 and 2017. I kind of found running and I completed a couple of half marathons and some 10k races. And it was quite a regular thing. It became part of my daily routine, but then we had 2 young children and they kept me pretty busy during that time. So it was always a struggle to fit it in. But during that time, I actually tripped over a drain cover and broke my arm. And I mean, looking back on it now, that could have been MS showing itself, because I never really understood why I tripped over. My MS diagnosis changed absolutely everything for me. I was in a pretty dark place. I mean, during that time, we were all inside with COVID, and I was trying to understand what was going on. It took a while to get the final diagnosis from my neurologist. So I did a lot of scrolling, a lot of researching on the internet, which didn't really help at all. And I realized then I needed to flip this into a positive thing. And that's I recalled then back in 2015 to 2017 how exercise really made me feel so much better. It gave me more focus, it gave me more energy, it gave me so much more drive, and it's a really positive thing. So there's very few things with exercise that's negative other than injury, really. I started running again purely because I was inspired by this chap called Ramon Arroyo. I watched a film called 100 Meters, and it's about his MS diagnosis and his subsequent relapses and how he went on to run an Ironman event. And it completely inspired me and just changed my thinking. And it was that gave me the drive to think, right, I can do this again. What I didn't realize really was, I didn't know at that time that when you're in that period of relapse, that it takes quite a while to recover from that. And I was still in that period of time. So it was really tough. I got out the door and I started running. The first couple of weeks I ran like I did in 2015, and my body was not ready for that at all. Yeah. So for a few days I was hobbling around. But it kind of gave me the drive to get going, and it was really important. I started to feel the benefit of those runs after time, and that came fairly quickly. It's a long, drawn-out process. It took a while to regain the fitness, but slowly that came back over time. Actually, my running has become so important to me. It's as important to me as taking my DMD every day, because it gives me the benefits of, like we said, the focus, the energy, etc. So I started to run fairly regularly. I was starting to do 5Ks a few times a week, and then I upped that to 10Ks. And I have to say, I never thought I'd get to the point where I was doing a marathon. I remember when I was doing half marathons a few years ago, I never dreamt that I would be able to run, 20 plus miles. I just thought it was completely unachievable. But it is amazing what you can do if you focus on something. It astounds you. Even when you hit the smaller targets, running for 20 minutes, running for 30 minutes. When you reach those achievements, you are so proud of yourself, and you should be, because it takes time, and it's fantastic. And the feeling of that achievement is brilliant. It's great. The first park run I did, that for me was huge. I'll never forget that. My family came because it felt so special to me. Yeah. And that was such a good, that's such a big achievement. And then that becomes a regular thing. And then you push yourself a little bit more. And that's what's so great about running, or whatever you're doing, is that it becomes a very personal challenge. You're not competing against anyone else. it's purely about you competing against yourself. Maybe
Yeah.
you want to do a quicker time, maybe you just want to run a little bit further, you know, and that's it. Or maybe you just want to run a route you've never run before. There might be a hill that you've never challenged or run up before, and it's those achievements that just tick the boxes and make you feel so good at the end of it. And that's the great thing about exercise, is it's that sense of self-achievement, and that's a really important thing. I used to dread cross-country running. I hated running. I absolutely detested it, you know. And I'm sure my younger self would be amazed that I'm doing this now, you know. And I have friends who I say, oh, come for a run with me, and they'll say, you know, well, I don't think I can keep up. I say, it's not about that. It's just about getting out the door and getting the job done. It doesn't matter what speed you run, what distance you run, or what you do. It's just the fact you're getting out the door and you're doing it, and the sense of achievement when you get back home, and you know, you feel good, and that's great, and that's really what it's about. It's, you know, it's a hard thing to put into words sometimes. I think sometimes I overdo it. I suffer more when I get back from a run and I've overdone it, and I should be getting to bed earlier. I should rest more. I should take more rest days.
Yeah.
So it's things like that, really. But running, sometimes when I'm getting fatigued, my foot drops a little bit and I scuff, which is why when I spoke about my arm break in 2015, I think that could have been a possible reason behind that.
Yeah.
And I really noticed that. So on those longer runs, I have to focus on picking my feet up a little bit more.
Yeah.
I actually saw a running coach a few months ago, just to look at my balance and gait.
Yeah. And
that was quite interesting. My balance wasn't too bad, but I think that's where the running's really helped. So obviously when you're running, you know, say you're doing 180 steps every minute, isn't it? Obviously you're balancing every time you go onto each foot, aren't you? And that helps. That really helps. My balance has got better from running. I think the difficulties that I find sometimes now are understanding when perhaps after a run I'm aching. Is that my body aching because of the running, or is that my body aching because of my MS?
Yeah.
And that's quite hard. I mean, at the moment I'm suffering from lower back pain. I think that's related to running, but I'm not sure if that was a muscle spasm that I had during a run because of the MS.
Right. I find a lot of people say that they struggle with exercise because it really burns them out. I guess you were saying, when you get hot, you can get more symptoms and you get the tingles and things like that, and they feel uncomfortable and they have to stop, and then they feel really tired afterwards. Did you find that when you first started? Because I find like I don't feel the sort of fatigue after I've done. I would get tired from a run, but I don't feel the fatigue. I feel energized after a run.
No,
yeah. But I felt like maybe in the beginning when you first start out, it's almost like you need to get over that first hump.
Yeah, you're so right. It's definitely that. So this time last year, it was definitely that. That was, I think that was my body getting used to it as well. And I think it was more my body suffering from the running. But now I feel so energized after a run. That's why I feel my body feels looser. It feels more supple. I feel totally energized. You know, you feel that runner's high. You feel the euphoria from that. You feel the sense of achievement. I feel so much better. I mean, I always run after work. I'm not very good at the mornings. I mean, I basically uncurl myself from bed in the mornings. Towards the end of the day, if it's a really busy day, that's when I've got that really bad brain fog. I've got, I struggle with my word finding. Everything's just very heavy. And then after that run, there's just clarity. Everything clears. The messiness in my head clears. I have time to think. I feel more supple, and I just feel more energized, and I feel great after a run. And that's why it becomes addictive.
Yeah.
And it's not just running. I'd say it's any exercise. If you have that feeling of, euphoria perhaps, or or self-achievement, that really helps. And I think that really helps me manage my MS, because I go into the evening feeling better from it. You get people who are fantastic. They share so much information, and you find that in the running community. And as I said, running community is everyone that runs. That's really just starting out. It's such a supportive place, because it's never about bragging about the time that you've achieved, or the distance you cover. You'll always find after a race, people just ask you, how was your race? They don't ask you what time you did. It's how did you find it, or how did that run go? And people offer advice, and it's great. It's a really good place to be. It's lovely. People just realize that you're achieving things, you know, singularly on your
Yeah,
own.
yeah.
And that's really good. And those bits of advice that come about, you know, how you should strengthen or, you know, support your run in a way, it's brilliant. It's so good. And just absorb it, you know, and then do that however you want. You know, you like you say with the running plans, you can create your own plan as such, can't you? You do what works for you.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about it.
How do you think people who struggle with keeping up a routine, what approach, have you got any advice for them?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think for running for me is like taking my DMD every day. So it's important to pill. It's taking the pill because it makes me feel better, and it's probably the single driver for me to get out the door. So I think you just need to find that focus to get yourself out there and doing it, and think about what that is. You know, of course, it's hard to do that when it's pouring down with rain outside, or if it's sleeting, or snowing. That's generally your excuse not to go out. But I think if you can get over that and just get your kit on. I mean, I procrastinate a lot.
Yeah.
Before going out, I sit there with my kit on, with everyone else in the room, and then I realise I'm not going anywhere. So you know, it's hard. But I think once you're out the door and you're doing it, then it's okay. I think it's getting out the door is the toughest thing. You know, it really is. But you know, it's so important to me. It's hard to put into words because it's basically it's that sense of achievement, isn't it? And like I said, it feels like you've cleared your head, you've done something to help your body.